Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome next up to Cageside, Kingsley Crawford.
We mentioned Warrior Fight Series as a breeding ground for the amateurs to turn professional, and this is a case in point. Two of the best amateurs in the country meeting now at Warrior Fight Series 7.
And Kingsley Crawford, the 19-year-old sensation from East London, an extremely physical, aggressive, and well-rounded individual. So tough as far as all of the natural attributes that he brings to mixed martial arts. And Malcolm, the type of super athlete that you really want to be a coach's dream.
That's right, and one thing that I've always loved about Warrior Fight Series is these amateur bouts, at the end of the day, could grace any show and be much higher up the bill. These are almost like the preliminaries for the professional bouts we've got in, but we're seeing in these young men the future professional.
And I cannot wait to see Kingsley back. He's been training 3 times a day, and he's ready to perform.
And his opponent, please welcome Aidan James.
And the Welshman, Aidan James from Chris Ree's Academy, making his way to the cage in this, his final amateur performance. And again, at just 22, we're looking at two men, the future of MMA.
Aidan James, the Welsh invasion, a guy who has really represented his country at the highest level within amateur MMA, seeks now, with a final performance here in London tonight, Malcolm, to put a convincing exclamation mark on really what's been a very successful career. 12-3, 5'11" as well. The height differential, possibly an important factor. And when we look at the way that he choked out his opponent last time at WFS 6, Malcolm, this guy's got skills and dangerous finishing ability no matter where this fight goes.
That's what's so exciting about this one, Chris. As you said, this bout now would grace any show in the country, and both men have made it very clear they've got their eye on the professional game. And for me, this is one of the ways to get that not only experience, but that way of saying to everyone, I'm ready.
I mean, the guy's got an octagon tattooed on his chest. If that doesn't tell you anything, perhaps his performances in the European and the World IMAF Tournament Series would. Check him out, UFC Fight Pass. This kid is so good and so dangerous, and is here tonight to do business with Kingsley Crawford.
Warrior Fight Series fight fans, we are ready for 3 3-minute rounds in the amateur featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighing officially at 64.9 kilograms with 8 wins and just 3 defeats from East London, Kingsley Crawford. And his opponent in the red corner, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighing officially at 65 kilograms with 12 wins and just 3 defeats from Swansea, Wales, he is Aidan James. When the action begins, your referee in charge, Mr. David Swan.
So we are ready for potentially 3 rounds of action with 2 of the most explosive young amateurs in the country. Both these men looking to turn professional, looking to put in a superb performance. For James, he wants this to be the final exclamation mark of his amateur career. Standing in his way, Kingsley Crawford.
Kingsley looking immediately to try and negate that reach advantage. Aidan circling beautifully there to the right. I would expect sharp combinations, Dutch-style combinations from James.
Yes, Crawford doing the right thing, but when he gets in there, he has to be explosive, getting quickly and inside those long limbs. James loose-limbed, confident and relaxed, as we can see. Crawford very focused.
Crawford's trying to look for single shots here. Again, a big left hook, a nod there from Crawford as James backs away. Try to catch James circling there into the power. He's either got that overhand right or that leaping left hook.
I was just about to say, that left hook is a way of saying, come back the other way to my right hand. But that said, James saw the danger and immediately looks to take Crawford down and again.
Spectacular there from James. Tried to catch the takedown initially, defended well with the Wizard by Crawford. James then got that body lock, bumped his hips and turned the corner. James on top. This is difficult times early.
And it was the right tactic. That left hook from Crawford had real power. But what Crawford was really saying with that left hook was, come into my right. But now James might make him pay here.
James thinking about that pass, but staying heavy here. It's important to sit down and get comfortable as you set up attacks here, whether that be a head and arm choke, whether that be taking the back, or whether that be trying to slide out of half guard here. Crawford knows this and is fighting with everything he has right now to try and regain guard. Look at the way he shrimps, shuffles his hips back, and tries to slide his right knee back in. Doing very nicely here. This is much better here for Kingsley Crawford.
That's right, this is not where he wanted to be initially. He was doing well upright, and as I said, the right tactic from James. And we talk about the body sizes and the 5'11". There's more than one way that can be an advantage. It doesn't always have to be just upright, as James is almost like a spider there.
Great float here from James. He's got to be patient, though. Kingsley's been there, done that. Both these guys have so much experience. More than 10 fights apiece in the amateur ranks. Kingsley 8-3. James the same in losses, but 4 more wins at 12-3. So both guys have been on their back often, whether in training or in competition. And there's a real battle of invisible jiu-jitsu going on right now.
Yes, and this is the thing, when these two young men at their age have this experience, and they've both said their big focus is on going pro, I'm all in favor of such amateur experience. When you go pro, your amateur experience is just there as a learning curve. And these two young men, as you rightly said, with such experience already before they go pro, their age is then irrelevant.
And they acknowledge just that right there. You know, it was a tough couple of minutes there fighting for the pass. Sometimes that's the way grappling goes. If you take a look at how it all went down, though, Kingsley connected with a couple of nice shots, whether that was the overhand right he threw, didn't land. The left hook was closer, though, and I think that made James think about what he wanted to do thereafter.
I agree with you. I think James thought, I think he also knew what Crawford was looking for. Crawford saying, that's my left. He moved, he wanted to move him to the right, and James did the right thing. He said, I don't fancy that so much. Let's see what you've got on the ground. It was a good tactical switch. And as you said, once it got down there, though, it was a real battle of wills because James couldn't assert his authority in the way he wanted.
Well, he couldn't get past half guard, and I think that really has to do with the disability to try to knee slice out or other various ways of passing. It was early, both men had grips. Crawford was persistent on retaining the guard. It was a great tactical performance from both men. Round 2 starts on the feet. Let's see what happens.
Yes, I'm wondering how Crawford will play this, whether he'll try to goad James onto that right hand once more.
Well, I can see James already has taken southpaw stance there, probing with a long jab. Nice left straight. Back to orthodox here for James. I think James is going to look to get the kicks going if he can set them up off combinations. Because we know right now, you know, on one hand, there we go. That was the kick I was looking for from southpaw to the body. Crawford's trying to throw punches, and if you can kick a guy at distance and not allow him to throw those punches, that's not a bad strategy with the height and reach that James has.
Well, nice lateral movement from James, and Crawford trying to goad him in closer because, yes, he's forcing the pace, but James, again, as he did there, slipped that left. His timing is excellent at the moment just to get out of range, and a bit of kidology from Crawford to get back into range, but once again, it's James that ties up.
50-50 here. You can see James trying to pummel in with that right arm right now from your angle. He then utilizes a deep underhook with the left to turn and manipulate Crawford. Crawford saying, hey, that was a little low there. Referee David Swan looking very closely as Aidan James attacks the inside leg.
Well, there's maturity from both men despite their age. James isn't taking the risk. He isn't getting caught in a slugfest. I think he acknowledges the power of Crawford upright, and he's done the right thing. He's stuck and moved. He's moved nicely just out of range, and then when he's had the opportunity, he's really tried to engage.
James again, southpaw, hand fighting to the left. That was beautiful. He stepped outside, lined up the left shoulder, straight punch right down the middle.
That's key, the stepping outside. especially if you're going to throw your own straight right, left hook. You step outside that centre line. And again, this is what I like about James. He's thinking the whole time he's moving, and again, shoots for the takedown at just a key moment.
Make him think you're gonna box and then you wrestle. Initially about the boxing though, you see that battle for the lead foot often in Southpaw versus Orthodox. James won that actually. Crawford said, let's go, let's bang, let's stand and fight. Just like that, Aidan changes levels and we're on the mat.
That's what I love about this bout. And the thing people have got to remember about boxing, everything about boxing is the feet.
And everything about takedown setup can also include foot position and footwork. You know, people talk about the footwork of stand-up fighting in MMA. I've also got to highlight there, that foot position was vital for the way that James got Crawford down. Crawford up went the legs there for an arm lock. James was having none of it. Some nice tidy ground and pound here from open guard.
Yes, since he evaded the arm attempt, some heavy fists have come down, some hammer fists raining down on Crawford. And for me, as I said, we've got two very talented young men in there, but I do like the way that James constantly switches, constantly thinks, constantly moves again. And Crawford acknowledges that, nods once more.
And you can see his teammates there calling for more action. They want Crawford to really blitz hard when they see Aidan setting up. For example, when he swaps stances. For example, when they catch him up when he runs up out of space, back to the fence. But I think that was a frustrating round there for the Crawford team.
That was the term I was going to use. I love it when somebody asks questions, as Crawford has been doing, and then his opponent finds the answers, which is what's turned the frustration back on Kingsley Crawford. Some of the things he's tried, we can see exactly what he has in mind, but James has seen it, redirected, moved again. And that's the key to me in that second round, frustration. Body language, the way he looked at his corner when they came over and shook his head. Aidan James is frustrating Kingsley Crawford. Third and final round. This of Aidan James's amateur career, and Crawford won't be long behind him in turning professional and refuses to touch gloves, wants to get straight on it, and I feel that's another systematic sign of that frustration, wants to get in there, but the foot movement once again of James in and out, and the timing and shot choice impeccable.
That fight IQ is why he is top 5 in the UK in the featherweight division. But Crawford, you know, definitely top 10. And right now you're seeing that as both fighters try to problem solve, but James slightly able to do so, I think, at a faster rate. And of course, pose questions that Crawford didn't quite have the answer in time for.
This is the thing when you've got two such evenly balanced men, it's in the details, it's the very small things that make all the difference. And those at the moment are working in Aidan James's favor. And again, just slips those left and rights beautifully.
And one thing that's intriguing is that actually, it's not like Aidan is running away here. You know, he's happily standing and trading, but he's trading intelligently. Sometimes fighting is all about picking favorable trades, and that's what James has done.
Oh, most definitely. And again, I like the way, as you quite rightly said, he stays in range enough to fire back. That's where the height advantage comes in again. You move ever so slightly, but you're still in range with your longer limbs. And he's forced Kingsley Crawford to chase him. And then saying to Kingsley, actually, although you're chasing me, I'm not that far away.
Crawford shrugs. But why would James stand when it's not necessarily something where he holds an advantage? Again, he backs away, moves his head, sees Crawford coming in straight there, and then throws a right straight. I mean, it's perfect shot placement.
Well, this is the thing they say, make them miss, make them pay. Lots of people, especially at amateur level, make them miss. It's the making them pay that counts, and this is where Aidan James has got the full package.
Good connection there again from James. He's using that inside slip. Crawford, though, lunging with the left hook. Crawford moving his head and then pulling it back. That draw step is key. You want to draw your opponent in, pull back, and then fire.
Yes, he's got to pull the trigger for the first time. It worked for him. I was just about to say, at this stage in the game, he's got to pull the trigger, and he pulled it at a key moment. But look how James reacts again.
Spectacular as James gets inside on an extremely accurate punch from Crawford. Ooh, up kick there. Got to watch out for that from Crawford. James, though, relentless here, smothering him, passing. getting that standing. I had an arm position here. He's got to choke if he wants it, Malk. Not much time to work with. Crawford's talking to him, though.
Yes, I mean, whether there's time or not to actually utilize it, it's the fact that he's recovered so well and turned it to his advantage once more. And that was the best moments in the round for me, for Crawford, when he realized what he had to do. He took those extra steps in and the big right hand boomed in. But even though it boomed in, that experience from James worked dividends for him.
And the end of a fight where both men had so many tools in the box. Made it almost a very difficult fight to follow, Malcolm, with the way that we suspected and saw the stand-up, and then all of a sudden it was grappling, and then clinch work and takedowns. So much going on there. And really, some good moments there for Crawford in the third.
Crawford's third was his best round because I think, like his camp, he was getting frustrated and felt he had to do something. And he did it in the right way. He took that 1/2 step closer, even more in James's range, because James was picking him off on the way in, so it was a brave tactic. But he did it for one reason, to get that booming right hand in. And he landed it sweetly, and James did rock, but not for long enough. And that was the one problem. And this is what I loved about this bout. You had two very technical men asking questions and then seeing those questions answered. And by the very act of answering them, you were asking your own questions. Beautiful bout.
And Aidan James, currently on a 4-fight win streak, could see it become 5. Buddy Johnson makes it all official.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to our judges' scorecards. Your winner by unanimous decision, and still amateur featherweight champion, Aidan James.